Hi guys, and welcome back to Mummy Cooks Homemade, and this is what we had for tea. This was one of them tray bakes again, like the chicken one. This was chorizo, tomato, we had chicken on the side, and Steve had baked tomatoes, all done in the air fryer. Jacket potatoes, cheese, fish in butter sauce. Yum. Yum yum. Chicken pie, chips and mushy peas. These were the Thai chili prawn fish cakes, salad and just some baked baby potatoes. Vegetable and chorizo risotto with some tender stem on the side. That's chunks of bacon as well. So we had fish with some wedges and beans. This, I don't recommend these. Really don't recommend these pot roasts. Other people might like them, but I don't. This cooked on slow for 8 hours overnight, and I still had to turn it up high for 3 hours. Once the timer went off to get it tender. It really weren't good. It was nice when it was finally cooked, but it took such a long time. So I've put half an onion in there. So in here, I'm putting black peppercorns, bay leaf, and a... oh, what's some tea bags called? Bouquet garni. Just drop it in. And I'm going to put in a beef stock. This made enough gravy for the Sunday dinner, plus I've got an entire jug, a measuring jug full of stock, ready for the minced beef and onion pie that I'm going to make. So that's good. So because I'm using this slow cooker, this was 1:30 in the morning I was doing this. Couldn't sleep. Because I was using the slow cooker to cook the meat, and that's where I usually put my veggies, I just had to stick them in a bowl. The parsnips will be for roast parsnips. And it's only Steve that eats them anyway. And of course, lots and lots of tender stem. Me and Caitlin that ate the most of this. So I was finishing off a bag that was open. That's why I'm taking a bit off at the bottom there. It needed using up. And then I use another bag as well. And then Savoy, because Steve made me get Savoy. I do prefer white cabbage. Has a much better texture. And I use it as well in casseroles, whereas I won't put a Savoy in a casserole. It's too soft. You know what? I hate cling film. I can never ever look at it. Every time I use cling film, it ends up like that. And it makes me mad so quick. It drives me nuts. That dark jar is my vanilla extract that I made. And I forgot all about. It was ready last December. Found it in my cupboard. So I'm just going to do a few potatoes. Mashed potatoes back on the menu now. Now the weather's cooled down. And while it was so hot, I didn't use my hobs. Because it just heats the house up so quick. Our house is like an energy rating 6. It just keeps all the heat in. So I'm just doing a few for a little bit of mashed potato. And it's the girls really that like that. And the rest will be mashed potatoes. And you've all seen me do them. So, stuffing time. You see, it does absorb a lot of water. Just pushing it to the sides to help it cool down quicker. And I'm going to add 3 pork and apple sausages to this when it's cooled down. I don't know why it's all zoomed in so much, but whatever. So I'm making the Madeira sponge. This is a Nigella recipe for this Madeira sponge. It's not something I really make. So I used her recipe for this. I will put it underneath. So this is the Madeira sponge that will go at the bottom of the trifle. Like I said, in the description box, everything you're going to need to make the trifle will be in there. Just making sure I get them chunks of sugar. And then you just want to cream it. I would have got my stand mixer out, but I didn't have no room. So this uses a mixture of plain and self-raising flour. It's not a lot of plain flour. And I'm weighing it out at this point because as you add your eggs, you will add in a tablespoon, of that flour. So I'm weighing it out beforehand. So with each egg, just pop in a bit of flour. And mix well between every egg you add. Now, if you're just making a plain Madeira sponge and it's not for use in a trifle, you can add some flavourings to this, some orange extract or some lemon, whatever you fancy. But it wasn't going to be the main flavour in the trifle, so I didn't bother. That's all there is to it, really. You can, of course, if you don't want to make the sponge. I mean, I would only make the sponge for if I was making the Christmas trifle. Otherwise, I'd use probably the ladyfingers. But this will be the recipe I will use for my Christmas trifle coming up. I'm so tempted to tap that harder, but I know every time I do that it ends up all over me. So you can see it's a thick batter. And this cooks for an hour. Again, instructions will be in the description. Just check it out. That's part 1 of your trifle completed. So, while that's baking, I'm going to make my Yorkshire puddings. This recipe, also description box, and I've never had this recipe fail. So it's plain flour, 3 eggs and 280 mils. I try to be exact as I can. Give it a good mix. You don't have to beat the life out of it, just make sure you get up all the dry ingredients from the bottom, which is what I'm trying to do. I'll lift it up in a minute and have a nosy, see if there's any dry ingredients still. So, put some oil in the pan, put it in the oven for 15 minutes to preheat. Take it out, quickly get the batter in. And then straight back into the oven, 20 minutes. Don't open the door. Non-deflating Yorkshire puddings. Done. I used half today, which was a Sunday, and half are in the fridge for during the week. So I'm just going to spray this dish. I'm going to mix them 3 pork and apple sausages with the stuffing. Anyone not tried it with this, with sausage meat added, try it. It's really, really nice. Roll them up. Drop them in your greased pan. Happy days. And that's them done as quick as that. Pop a lid on, put them in the fridge until you need them. Next part is I'm using dark wild berries. And adding my sugar. It doesn't matter if it's caster sugar or granulated, to be perfectly honest. What you need is for this to get hot enough to melt all the sugar. Heat the berries so that they release the juices, because this juice is what's going to soak into your sponge. And I've just used a Hartley's jelly block. I don't normally put jelly in, But Steve was like, oh, I always have jelly. We always had jelly as a kid. So, I mean, I don't eat trifle, so I didn't have jelly as a kid. Or trifle. You can see that Madeira Sponge come out nice and soft. Push it all down. You're not going to see that anyway. It's going to be covered with all of your fruits. So there they are, juicy. You want all of that liquid in there, because that cake is just going to absorb it. The dark reds. Nice and Christmassy. I didn't buy the expensive bag of fruits. I got the ones I actually used were the wonky ones, the wonky frozen fruit, and they are no different. Tastes no different whatsoever to the one you could pay twice the price for. So yeah, save yourself a couple of quid and just buy them ones. So I'm going to pour the liquid in now. Try to make sure that I get it over all of the cake. Now the jelly requires half a pint of red hot boiling water to dissolve the jelly. Then you top it off with cooler water. But I'm not going to top it off because of the liquid that's already just gone in here. I'm just going to add it as is. So make sure it's dissolved before you put it in. You can see as well at the side, them Yorkshires have not deflated. They turn out like that every time. So there's that extra liquid in there, which is why I've not added it to the jelly. Pour that over, and that will all get absorbed down as well. Let it cool, and then pop it into the fridge to set. Now, custard. This is an all ingredients in one pan and whisk. It couldn't get any easier. That's cream, caster sugar, egg yolks, with this method you've got to be very careful. As soon as it starts to thicken, turn that heat off. Putting a bit of vanilla in the custard. And that's cornstarch. That's what's going to help thicken and keep your custard nice and thick. Stop it from splitting. But you've got to add that cornstarch into the milk while your milk is still cold. Not milk, cream, sorry. You're going to think it's not going to thicken up. Trust me, it goes from pure liquid to thick custard in one go. And I do prefer it on the thicker side for trifle, then it doesn't just spill everywhere when you cut into it. There you go. You can see it's gone straight into being thick. Pour it over, cool it, pop it in the fridge let that set. And the last thing is, you just pop whatever topping you want on it, whether it's Cool Whip in America or cream over here. I just use some whipped fresh cream, bit of sugar in it, icing sugar, and decorate it how you want to decorate it. And that was how dinner turned out. I was so ready to eat by the time it was done, guys, honestly. And all I did was top it with a snowy chocolate on top of the whipped cream. And it all set up. This is me filming, as you can tell. And there's Steve getting his. Eventually. You moving, Steve? This is him filming. It does like a bit of trifle, does Steve? And the kids at it as well. Amy shocked me. Shocked me. Put everything you need to make the trifle from scratch. You see, it's all not slipping down. And that's just white chocolate on the top of the cream. Don't know why he's showing you my Yorkshires again. Anyway, guys, you'll find everything you need in the description. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. Share it if you can. And I'll speak to you in the comments. Bye.